Hey everyone, welcome to your restorative practice. Let's go ahead and grab a bunch of blankets and pillows. Whether or not we think we need them, always a good idea to have them just in case we do. Okay, we're going to start off just lying down on our backs. We've been doing a lot of deep hip work lately. This is week 3 of our journey around the hips. And so I just want us to check out how that's feeling. Especially I want you to notice right now as you lay down on your back, if you're on a hard surface like a hardwood floor or even carpet, how that feels on the low back with the legs stretched out. So go ahead and relax your shoulders down your back, slightly tilt your chin in towards your chest. Start to take the breath in and out through the nose and connect the hands to the body here. Maybe one hand to the low belly, one hand to the rib cage. Invitation to close the eyes. Just breathing in and out through the nose. Just take a little bit longer to fully inhale. A little bit longer to fully exhale. About 3 more breaths like this. Breathing in and out through the nose. Nice and slow. Start by bending the knees, hugging the knees into the chest. See if you can give that tissue at the low back just a little bit of love. If you want to, you could rock side to side here. And if you want to take that into happy baby, please feel free to do that. Happy baby is always kind of nice just to check out the hips, what's going on, um, and see like inner thigh, outer thigh, low back. That is all hips. So see how it feels. Mm. One more breath in your happy baby. All right, let's rebend the knees, plant the feet, set the meat, set the feet on the mat. I guess I'm hungry. I'm talking about meat. All right, so feet on the mat. We're gonna elevate the hips. So we're gonna choose one of our props. Maybe that's a stack of blankets, maybe it's a stack of pillows. You can certainly use yoga blocks if you have those at home. So we're gonna press into those feet, lift the hips up and slide a prop or 2 or 3, however much height you want, underneath your pelvis. If you're not quite sure how much height to use, I recommend experimenting. So you want a little bit of here's what I'm looking for. Not everybody's going to feel a lot of sensation across the hip flexors. That's the front of your hips. And that's okay because we're going to take this step by step. But first, what I want you to feel is stable through the base of the pelvis. So whatever you're resting your pelvis on is nice and stable. It's even from side to side. So make those adjustments. Be mindful of how that feels at the low back. Too much is no good. Okay. Especially in your restorative practice. We want this to be passive. We want the body, the muscle tissue, especially to be able to let go and release. Just take a few moments, pause here, breathe. Just breathe through the nose. We'll do a minimal amount of shapes today, long, long holds to really maximize the benefit of these shapes and to work deep within the hip flexors. Whenever I teach this shape, invariably people are already, before I even cued it, stretching their legs out, which is totally fine. So if you want to go there now, you can stretch your legs out. Just know that that's probably going to intensify any sensation you feel in your low back. And it might now intensify the sensation across the hip flexors. So again, this is the long hold. I want you to make sure it's sustainable for you. If you've got too much height underneath your pelvis, you want to back that out a little bit. You're checking in and seeing, where am I gripping? Sometimes gripping in the muscle tissue is unconscious because it's been done for so many years and it's like a chronic unconscious clenching, not unsimilar to those of us who grind our teeth at night, kind of a stress response. So just know you're not alone. We all do it. I do it too. And the practice here is to just continue to try and release that, to continue to come back to the breath. When you notice you're starting to grip again, make a conscious effort to release, let go. You're going to repeat that as many times as needed. As many times as needed, you repeat that. We'll spend about 2 minutes more here. I'll just spend some time in silence, quiet reflection. I offer you the practice of returning to the breath. Sometimes it can be helpful to count the breath. So I'll say this and then I'll be quiet. So counting the breath, you can do it so many different ways, but if you want some guidance, try inhale, count 1, exhale, count 2, inhale, count 3, exhale, count 4. You're continuing to count each inhale and exhale until you get to 10. And then you start over again at 1 when you reach 10. You might not reach 10 because your mind might take you out of that practice. In which case, when you notice that's happened, you just very gently guide yourself back to starting over again at the number 1. Have about 1 more minute here. If you do ever need to come out of a shape sooner than I call time, please listen to your body. You're always welcome to make modifications to suit your needs. Last 3 breaths here. If your legs are stretched out, really slowly, one at a time, bend your knees, plant your feet. If you need to adjust your pelvis, like retuck the pelvis or tuck the tailbone so that a little bit more of the low back is resting on your prop, go ahead and do that. All right, now here's what I like to do next, and you can remove your prop if you need to, but I like to, from here, hug my knees into my chest so my pelvis is still elevated, a little bit rock side to side, and then press the feet up towards the ceiling so we're in a very gentle inversion. If you need to adjust that prop underneath your pelvis so that it's a little bit more underneath your low back, sometimes that's helpful, especially if the legs feel really heavy or if there's a lot of tension in the backs of the legs. Okay, so option number 1 is to stay here just like this. Option number 2, for those of you that know that your spine, your neck, your shoulders are all really happy and healthy and mobile, there's no injuries there, feet can go up and overhead. Halasana pose, plow pose. So feet going up and overhead, maybe the toes touch the floor overhead. If that doesn't happen, that's totally fine, no worries. Please don't force this. This can be a lot on the neck. So don't force it. If you're in Halasana, slowly make your way back to your supported inversion, pelvis on the prop, feet up in the air, reaching for the ceiling. Pause here, breathe in, breathe out. If Halasana, plow pose, didn't work for you, please don't beat yourself up over that. That's a big, big, big pose, especially for the spine and the neck. All right, just set our feet back to the mat. Sorry about the barking dogs in the background. Set the feet back to the mat. Lift your hips up, move that prop out of the way, and then take your feet wide on your mat and let your knees knock side to side. Okay, so feet are wide, knees knock side to side. All right, hug those knees back into the chest. Give yourself a little hug, a little squeeze. This is really good to massage the tissue at the low back, especially if it feels kind of tender after that back bend. Let's rock up to a seated position. We're going to come into a supported pigeon pose. And I recommend trying some variations with your props. As always, I'm going to give you some options. Please modify to suit your needs. If pigeon pose doesn't work for you and you already know that, take figure 4 on your back. If you're not sure what figure 4 is, I'll demonstrate really quickly. So figure 4, right ankle to the left knee. You can either let the foot rest on the mat or a prop, or you can hug that in. And you're just working that hip flexor, that right hip flexor in external rotation. Okay, so there's that option, figure 4 on your back. For pigeon, here's what I've been playing with in my practice. So bolster, pillow, stack of blankets, whatever kind of prop you want. It's ideally the width of your mat length. Okay, so see how I have this across the width of my mat? And then I'm going to bring a pillow forward so I can rest my chest on something. So my right foot's going to go forward over this pillow. And then I'm going to walk my right foot off to the left side. And then I'm going to set my right hip all the way down on this prop. Back leg doesn't matter so much. Sometimes it's easier to keep that knee bent a lot. Sometimes it works to extend that left leg back. That's going to be a lot on that hip flexor. Maybe, maybe not. It's also going to be a lot on that front hip and the socket external rotation. Okay, so here's where you can fold forward over the front leg, shin, knee. Gather props underneath the chest, underneath the head if you like. And we'll settle in for some stillness, for some silence. If you get into this shape and you realize, oh God, I can't hold that. That's not sustainable. Guess what? Back out, add props, add support. Please do not hold yourself in anything that is akin to sharp shooting pain, numbness, or tingling. Want to avoid nerve sensation. We want to avoid damaging the tissues. Dull, achy pain, that's something that feels like it's in the belly of the muscle. That's the kind of discomfort we're working with. Try to breathe in and out through the nose here. So again, this is a long hold. We have about 4 more minutes here. You start to get anxious. Focusing the mind on the breath can be a helpful tool. Again, you might count the breath. Inhale is 1, exhale is 2, inhale is 3. Keep counting until you arrive at 10 and then start over. Check in with yourself. How are you doing? Last minute here. Last minute here. Let's take 2 more breaths on this side. Start to make your way back up to your hands. If you're all the way in that fold, take a deep breath in at the top. And then we'll send our right leg back, coming into maybe a child's pose, tabletop, or even a downward facing dog. I'm going to take a couple of breaths in down dog just to lengthen out through that right hip, glute, hamstring. Take a couple more breaths wherever you are, whatever you're doing. All right, and then we'll start to set up our second side. So if you're coming into your pigeon, that's your left foot forward. If you're taking second side, figure four, left ankle to right knee, you're on your back. You can either leave that right foot on the mat or hug that figure four in close, really up to you. Okay, and then we're gonna walk that left foot off to the right hand side. Get that left hip all the way relaxed down if you're coming into pigeon with me. You can choose what you want to do with that back leg. That right knee can go towards long if it's okay on that hip flexor. We did do a lot of prep for that hip flexor, so it might work today. And if it doesn't work, it's not a big deal. Don't feel bad. Just bend the right knee a lot. Add props underneath the chest, underneath the belly as you're ready to fold forward. Okay, again, so long hold. We have about 4 minutes on this side. Check in with the sensations around the hip. What kind of sensations do you feel? So I want you to start to develop a vocabulary around how do I talk about what I'm feeling in my body? Is it discomfort? Is it pain? Start to discern what that is for you. So even if you don't have the answer right now, just start to kind of ponder. What would pain feel like? How would I describe it? When would I know how to back off? And then think about discomfort. And think about how can I support myself in the discomfort? How can I make the discomfort a little bit more sustainable? What kind of props do I need to add or adjustments do I need to make? So you might not always have the answer at first, but just allow yourself to kind of get curious about what you could do differently or what you could do more of or what you could do less of. Sometimes all it needs to happen is deepening the breath. Imagine relaxing the muscle tissue, relaxing the shoulders, the fingertips, the jaw. Keep coming back to focusing on the breath. Have about 1 more minute here. A little bit less than a minute. Focus on your breath. Last 2 breaths here. And take your time. If you're coming from your pigeon, hands underneath the shoulders, make your way back. You want to come back to downward facing dog for a few breaths, great. If you're ready to come onto your back, great. If you're already on your back, amazing. You don't have far to go. Our next shape is going to be Shavasana, but take your time with your transitions. And if you want to come down to your back and kind of move side to side a little bit, give yourself a little gentle rotation, you could do that too. When you're ready to set up for your Shavasana, I recommend getting as comfy as you can. I always want you to stay longer in your Shavasana and ignore me when I pull you out if you can. Give yourself a little mini nap snack. All right, so Shavasana. Relax your shoulders down your back. Slightly tilt your chin in towards your chest. Find a comfortable position to rest your arms. We'll take 2-minute Shavasana. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Very gentle seal of the lips. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just let it be passive in the background. No need to control it, no effort. Shavasana. Please feel free to stay longer. If you need to move on with your day, begin to slowly awaken, fingertips and toes, little movement. When you're ready, you could stretch your arms overhead. Breathe into the whole body. Taking your time, rolling off to a side. And eventually, press to an upright seated position. We'll just briefly close out our practice together if you have the time. So as you sit up nice and tall, see if you can lean back a little bit in the shoulders and the head. Relax the shoulders down the back. Maybe close the eyes here. Breathing in, get tall through the spine. Breathing out, feel your sits bones rooted equally, right to left. Blowing the breath in and out through the nose, up and down the spine. Finally, joining the hands together at the heart and bowing the chin into the chest. Taking a moment here to offer reverence and gratitude to the practice, to all of our teachers, past, present, future, and to the teacher within your own heart. Namaste, yogis. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your practice. I hope you're feeling good. Please take care of yourselves and come back again soon. One more week of looking at those hips. Hope they're feeling good.